Hello, welcome back to Your Life Your Way. I'm your host, Kathleen McDermott. Here at Your Life Your Way, we talk about all things living life your way on your terms. What does that mean? It doesn't mean kicking people to the curb. It just means stepping fully into who you truly are, feeling safe, insecure, and happy and alive, thriving in your own body, and also creating a life that makes you thrive overall in every area of your life. And I'm excited to say, because I love this topic, and the reason I'm especially loving this topic is because it's one of those topics that we don't talk enough about. And my guest today, Allie Theiss, is going to share with us her journey, why she's walked this herself, so why she is expert enough to tell us how to walk it. Every woman is going to experience some form of what we're talking about today. So I'm actually going to read her bio because I love her bio. I think it is absolutely spot on and thorough, and I don't want to miss a word. Allie is a board certified sexologist, integrative wellness coach, and menopause care provider, dedicated to helping Gen X women thrive through menopause and beyond. As the founder of the Passion Zone and Menopause Wellness, Allie guides menopausal and postpartum women in reigniting their desire, deepening intimacy, and reclaiming their vibrant, sensual selves without shame, pressure, or hormones. After navigating her own journey of hormone-free menopause, Allie made it her mission to offer the support she never had. Amen to that. We can all relate there, I think, into this generation. That she never had through her signature, She Be Me, and Thrive and Flourish. That is our word today, thrive. Frameworks. She blends holistic wellness, energy work, and real life strategies to address the physical, emotional, and sexual challenges of menopause. So many things we don't talk about. From private coaching and personalized wellness consultations to hormone-free care packages and empowering courses, Allie helps women reconnect with their bodies, balance their hormones naturally, and rediscover their spark. Yay, Allie. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having me. This is wonderful.
I am really, really honored to have you here. And I will be honest and upfront and say, Allie and I have had a few conversations. I was honored to be guest on her podcast. Tell us your name of your podcast, Allie.
The name of the podcast is Menospark, but Kathleen, you and I were on a subset of Menospark. We had a Spark session, which was
Spark
wonderful.
session. We have sparks going all over the place. And Allie and I have a similar history in some ways, and that might even pop up in the conversation today. But Allie, we don't talk. We don't talk about menopause, peri-menopause. We don't
No.
talk about how it changes our body, how it affects our sex life. We don't talk about these things. And there are so many other things we don't talk about. But let's get on to this subject today. Would you please start and tell us all what brought you to this guidance and support for women? What was your own journey like?
Well, let me tell you right up front, I was pissed off that I got no help.
Been there.
No help whatsoever. And as you and I talked before about our backgrounds, I was a school bus driver, and all the doctor said is, "Oh, you're stressed, your mood swings, your migraines. That's because you're a school bus driver. That's why it's happening. It's not the fact that, oh, I don't know, you're in perimenopause or the one day of menopause no, no. It's because you're a school bus driver. That was the only thing I was given. And yes, driving a bus is very stressful, but I really enjoyed my job. So I I I was extremely angry at the disservice the available medical community gave me. And I started jumping in to do my own research on what was going on with myself. And I knew because of my family's history on both sides that I was not going to be a candidate for any type of hormone replacement therapy. And after I kind of sobbed about that for a little bit, I put my researcher hat on and I jumped in and investigated. Now, at the time I hit menopause, I was already a board certified sexologist. But I did not realize, because I knew nothing about menopause, the different changes that were happening to me was because of menopause. My libido kind of dropping, the land down under being, drying up.
Hmm.
Um, it it really dismayed me because nobody else knew what was going on either. That was around me in this Northeast community in Ohio. I also decided at that time to go back to school. I'm currently working on my PhD in mind body medicine, which I want to put towards women in any part of their menopausal journey.
Hmm.
Um, Menopause affects our moods, um, our anxiety, our depression, our rage. And since our brain is our largest sex organ, it most certainly affects the libido or lack thereof of having one. So that's in a nutshell how I got started on this journey of helping menopausal women, not only with their sex life, but the all over journey, and helping them thrive instead of just trying to eke by
Yeah,
surviving.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I can vouch absolutely what you're saying, that no, it is not driving the school bus, because I too was a school bus driver during this phase of my perimenopause journey. And it definitely was not the school bus. um, Granted, there were challenges, but
Yes.
no, and it is. I found the same thing in so many women, and not just in perimenopause or menopause, but so many health issues with women were basically poo-pooed as if it's all in our head, or just take an aspirin, or oh, this is
Yes.
my favorite, which is what was my so-called solution from a doctor was, well, you have a chemical imbalance, and or you're depressed, we're going to put you on an antidepressant.
They
Oh
did
my
that to me
gosh.
too. That's exactly what
Yeah.
they did to me. They
Yeah,
put
it
me
took
on
me
an
forever to
antidepressant.
get off that.
Yeah, I'm off of mine as well. I'm like,
Kudos.
no, just no.
No, and the sad part is, one of the physicians who was not listening and refused to even discuss the fact that I was in perimenopause, "Oh, you're too young," was a woman.
Huh.
That's even more frustrating when it's a woman. You can't get them to listen to you.
It is, I am amazed and disheartened at the medical community as a whole. The medical professionals that are out there that are Gen X and older received zero training on menopause, unless they went back to some sort of class or whatnot to learn about menopause. It is taught now in about 35 or 33%, I'm sorry, of medical schools in the
Hmm.
US, only 33%, and we are only a weekend seminar.
Oh, jeez. Yay. Well,
Yay,
thank
God.
you.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, thank you for putting all that effort in. One of the, if not the biggest change that women go through, losing our period, losing our hormones, um, losing a sense of who we are,
Mhm.
because all of us change. The whole body, mind, soul, spirit, it all changes
Yeah.
during menopause. And the fact that so little time is spent on it in medical schools just drives me insane.
What do you find, Allie, that, there are so many you've mentioned, the mind, the body encompasses so much
Hmm.
of what is affected. But out of those issues, those two areas, what do you find is the most common, or maybe the two or three most common, really painful heartaches for women going through this time? What are the most common, um, toughest areas that they're dealing with?
Oh, there's over 50 symptoms that can encompass a woman on her journey through peri all the way to post menopause. The ones I hear about the most is people who have had a wonderful sex drive and it's gone. Uh, Somebody who has always enjoyed sex, but now it hurts. And the third one is a toss up. It is either hot flashes, which drive me insane, hot flashes, brain fog, insomnia,
Oh, big one.
or joint pain. For a long time, I flipped around in my bed like a chicken on a rotisserie.
Wow.
That was my sleep. And since I have the 12 cats and the dog, we all were up all night long. Now the cats and dog hardly ever sleep with me because they don't want to be twisted and
They want to
turning in the
sleep.
middle of the night. They want to sleep. They do take some good naps during the day. Um, but that group is what I hear about the most from women. Uh, it, 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 I hate hearing it. I hate
Yeah.
hearing it because when women experience Perry, when they first start this journey, they think they're alone. They think they're going crazy because the different things that
Yes.
are happening to
I
them.
thought I was losing my mind.
Yeah, and they go to their medical professional as
Mhm.
everyone should, and then the medical professional poo poos them off
Yeah.
unless they're lucky enough to know to have a medical professional who is skilled in menopause, and that's usually not everyone, but it's usually those who have already gone through menopause or their spouse has gone through menopause or somebody they know, and then they dive in to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I can relate to so much of it. I went through so much of it, and in support of our loved ones, they don't understand it either. And how, if we don't understand it, how can they understand it? And it can really affect our relationships because
Yes.
um, it's not just, as you said, it's not just a physical change. It's a mental change. It's an emotional change. And if you think that if you're scared, and I remember that feeling of being so scared as to what is going on with me. I don't understand my body anymore. It's like some alien came in the night and switched bodies on me,
Yeah.
and it was just scary. And when the mood swings were happening, it was like I could step out of myself and hear myself say, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you saying this?" And it was like I just couldn't stop it.
Hmm.
Um, and it's really a scary, scary thing. And I had to diagnose myself. Basically, I started
Yeah.
with a calendar, and because I knew my mother had gone through it early,
So did
and
mine.
I was already having trouble getting pregnant, and it just all the pieces started to fit together. So I started tracking on a calendar and doing my own research, doing my own googling
Yep.
and researching things, and figured out, yes, that's what was going on, but there still weren't answers at the time other than the antidepressant. This was a long time ago for me. We're
Right.
blessed today. What do you find that you do differently, that you've learned, that you share with your clients today that we didn't have back then?
No, and one thing before I get into that, I am very happy to see people who have, I guess, star power, for lack of a better way to put it, that are stepping up and talking about menopause, so that the other women around the world can watch these ladies. Oprah
Mhm.
Winfrey, for instance, is having a special soon. Halle Berry has bought into she's part of this menopause company, and not Naomi Watts, I believe that's her name, wrote a book about her journey, and then Drew Barrymore talks about it on her talk show. So the fact that finally, women who with some power in Hollywood are able to speak about it to the masses, but still the masses aren't hearing what
Which
they
is
need.
why we are doing what we're doing, is to, if we can reach just a few, that's a huge blessing.
One of two of the biggest things that I do for myself that I suggest to my clients, and it's all up to the clients whether or not they do something.
This
Um,
is true.
One is all over health. We cannot go through the McDonald's drive-through like we used to. We cannot pick up that Big Mac and those fries, no matter how much, we might still like them. Can't eat the big steaks. The baked potatoes was slathered in sour cream and cheese and all the other things, pizzas. Our body reacts differently now than it
Hmm.
used to. When we eat out a lot or we have processed foods, I am a big sugar person. In my family, we had dessert first because it was the best part.
Right? Shouldn't
Yeah,
whoever said it had to be last?
and that's exactly what my grandmother said. Who said this was last? It must have been some man. We're going to eat it first.
I said that about a few things, but that's another conversation.
So sugar is a big
Yeah.
deal. I have completely revamped my diet. Um, I have oatmeal in the morning with some berries. Berries are always good. People tell you to eat more fruits and vegetables. When you're in menopause, you still have to be, again, very careful with the sugar. And the berries carry the less amount of sugar for you to eat. So instead of having a banana, maybe have a strawberry with your oatmeal or your cereal, or a nice yummy dessert. I haven't eaten out fast food or a restaurant
Mm.
in, gosh, a year and a half, easy. I make sure I have a nighttime routine when I go to bed to get my body used to, we're doing this, this, and this, which means when we head to bed, we read a chapter of something and then close it up and I fall asleep because my body knows that's what we need to do.
My routine is sacred.
Yeah, I don't mess it up for anybody. And also with the libido, since the brain is the largest sex organ, many women cannot take the hormone replacement therapy. Therefore, they cannot take testosterone to get their libido back up to where them and maybe their partners would like it to be. So by reading a romance novel, a chapter a night, you can either read it or listen to it,
Mm-hmm.
let your brain know, hey, this romance stuff is important to Allie. She's actually living it because the brain can't tell the difference between what
Exactly.
you imagine
Exactly.
and what's real life.
Mm-hmm.
So it prepares your body for sex as much as it can without you having any hormones. Okay. You're not going to be ready to go like you were when you're 20, but it has you think about it more often, the intimacy and the romance and the sex and touching and being close to yourself or to a partner. And all of us know if we think about something enough, we do it because we can't stop thinking about it. And that's where the romance books come in because you keep thinking about intimacy and you want to do it more often because you keep thinking about it because the romance books have you think about it.
And the mind is a very powerful thing.
Oh, it is. And, and I tell people, I said, because I've talked to clients about reading romance novels and they're like, but I like true crime and, I have all that gory stuff.
Like you're missing the point.
I said, well, that's fantastic. Just to let you know, your brain thinks that's your actual life. So as you're going through the true crime and all the gory stuff, your cortisol is rising. It's flushing through your system because your body's thinking, hey, you got to get out of there before you get knifed. So those type of books, as wonderful as they are, tends to put more stress on your system.
Good point.
So, yeah.
Good point. How do you find that you recommend support in bringing in your loved ones, whether it be your partner, your spouse, those that maybe if you live with a roommate? I mean, how do you communicate with those that are closest in your circle so that they have some type of understanding that you're not
Right.
crazy, even though it may seem like you're not crazy, that you are going through something? How do you educate those that are closest to you so that you can help those relationships be stronger?
And so they don't think this is just an excuse.
Exactly.
Exactly. I find two things. One, I can talk to them. I have no problem talking to anybody in their household as long as I'm given permission to.
Mm-hmm.
So if they talk to somebody who deals with menopause and intimacy and all of that, then a little light bulb goes off. Oh, yes. But if talking to me is not an option, you'll say you're not a client of mine, so you can't talk to me, or take your partner or somebody to the doctor with you, hopefully a menopausal, knowledgeable doctor. I would go online and go maybe to the Menopause Society and download facts. People like facts, black and white. And if they can read those facts and see what's going on with you and your body and your mind, um, they're more accepting to it. Because I've had quite a few clients print things out for their spouses because, of course, the spouses are feeling rejected,
Yes.
and they don't understand why. Does she have somebody else? Does she not love me anymore? And the women not being attracted to their partners anymore is, oh my God, am I falling out of love with him? What's wrong? And it's hormones. We're a slave to them when we have them. We're a slave to them when they leave.
Yeah.
They seem to control way too much of our lives.
Agreed.
Um, but
Agreed.
that is the easiest way, either to talk to a professional, bring them along, or to print out something and show them. And if they're not willing to look at it, you know, find a go to, what is it called, Google Scholar, and they have a lot of scientific papers. Print one out about menopause, lay it on their pillow. If they're not going to believe you, they may believe science. Not everyone believes in science nowadays, so I don't know if your partner would, but it's a shot. You've got to try to get them to understand what's going on with you, and that whatever's going on is not personal. There's nothing defunct about anybody. It's just a transition.
Definitely. Definitely. What do you advise your clients to, outside of, and trust me, what we put into our bodies is so important. And I too love sugar, love sugar. It's
Yeah.
a constant um, relationship struggle between the two of us. But with that being said, that is the one area that I noticed I did have some improvement, because at that time I changed my diet. I don't eat processed, or I don't eat fast food. I haven't eaten fast food in years.
Hmm.
And I remember greatly reducing the processed food and moving over to more real food, um, and did see a difference in my body and how
Yes.
I was responding. Not enough, but it helped. What do you suggest? Say, for example, we're supposed to move our bodies. Moving our bodies, having our body be a part of healing, can be one. That's not a one size fits all. And I'm not saying go out and jog if that's not your thing. But what do you recommend to someone to do physically to help move their bodies that will help their nervous system and help the overall feeling that they're experiencing?
If they're not prone to go walking or jogging or ride a bike or weight lift or anything like that, just getting up and maybe putting on some of the 80s music you liked, or the
Ah,
70s
yes.
music. And then I have no rhythm. I can't dance. I look funny, but I don't care. When I'm in my own house, I do what I want.
Yep.
And I turn that music on and I dance around the house. And
Me too.
it gets me moving. And I keep buying houses that have stairs, so I have to go up and down
Mm,
stairs instead of having it, one floor, where it'd be easier for me without a doubt, but it's better for my body if I climb up and down stairs right now.
that's good. But I
Um,
think it really is about finding something
yeah,
it's like anything else. There isn't a diet that's a one size fits
mhm,
all. There isn't an exercise, the movement that's
no.
one size fits all. Life is not that way. So
Unfortunately,
finding something that serves you is most important.
and yoga. Let's not forget
Oh,
yoga.
speaking my language.
Yeah, let's not forget yoga. Uh, Yoga, and as you teach it, Kathleen,
Mhm.
um, I'm really still looking forward to seeing that bed yoga. But
I
I'm
know,
sure
I
it's a whole
know,
other
I know.
conversation.
It's
But I'm
coming,
looking
it's
forward to
coming.
seeing that.
But I'll give you some
Um,
private tips.
right, that's a deal. Um, but anything that gets your body moving. I have, and a lot of people wear smartwatches. I have a smartwatch that vibrates every 50 minutes. That is my cue to get up and move. As you know from driving a school bus, you're sitting down all the time.
Yeah.
And before I schooled myself in peri and menopause and all of that, getting out of my seat to go do something, it was like I was 80 years old. Um, my bus aide, Sue, who is 72 now, I'll be 58, but when I would get up, she'd say, "Come on, Grandma, let's move, because
Oh.
my body would not move. Once I learned more about moving, even if we were at, say, the middle school waiting for the kids
Mhm.
to get out of school and hop on the bus, I'd either walk up and down the bus until they got on, or I'd walk up and down the sidewalk, depending, I'm in Ohio, so depending what the weather was like at the time.
Yeah.
But just getting up and doing any type of movement is crucial. You know, if you don't move it, you lose it.
Mhm.
If you don't move it, you feel much. Let's see, how can I put this? Much more aged than
You're
you
reading
actually
my
are.
mind. I was just going to ask you, how does all this affect our aging process?
It has you look at that you're um, much more advanced than you are. You know, when I started this, I was what, 49 when I started looking into things, and I walked around like I was 70 something. My body would not move, and I couldn't figure it out. But now, if you know, I sit here a lot working with clients and of course my schoolwork and all of that. But if I need to get up in a hurry, I can.
Mhm.
Before, I couldn't. There was no getting up. I was going to burn with the bus. I could not move that fast. But
What do you think? What would you attribute to your most favorite thing about getting your body back into being able to move smoother with more ease?
well, besides just the fact I can move, I remember talking to myself getting across the parking lot at work. Keep going. That's what I would tell myself as I'm walking across the parking lot. Keep walking, because my joints hurt so bad. So between just normal movement and being able to sleep, do I
Ah,
still
there you
toss and
go.
turn? I do still toss and turn, but not nearly what I used to. Not even close. Uh, it, moving is vital.
Yeah. It helps with so many areas, both, and that includes sleeping. I mean,
Yeah,
I think as women, we go through so many phases of struggling with sleep. The simplest of reasons is we can't turn off our thoughts, our minds. Our minds
right.
just constantly, what do we have to do? What do we have to do? Did we get this done? Did we not? It's just the brain just goes. But there's so many things with the body that affect too. I mean, simple as magnesium. Lack of
Yeah,
magnesium
yeah.
can disrupt our sleep, and we can, I used to wake up with, which I went through this in perimenopause too, was the cramping in
Oh,
my
but yes.
feet and my legs. So now I have since learned that minerals, having a good mineral balance,
Hmm.
is important as well. And I do, no one will tell me differently. I work with a functional medicine gal, and I've learned about my own body going through this,
Right.
that your hormones and your minerals are very closely related as far as how one can throw the other off. And just having a good magnesium supplement, magnesium glycinate, for example, to boost your ability to sleep is
Yeah.
huge. That's critical. But
I
movement,
had
yes, is
forgotten.
important.
Thank you for bringing that up. I totally forgot about magnesium. I take that now too at night before I go to bed.
Mhm.
And the cramps, when I first started getting those, I never had cramps, and I've never had a house with air conditioning, and I don't know why. It's just my life. Every house I buy has no air conditioning, so I've always had huge fans down by my feet to blow the air
Mhm.
up, and I could sleep much better. Well, as soon as I hit Perry, the fans, if they would blow my feet and my legs, I'd cramp up.
The cold,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, it was horrible. Um, you would think somebody was killing me with me waking up in the middle
They
of the
can be
night
pretty nasty.
and just
Absolutely.
screaming.
Hmm.
Yes. But since I discovered a very good magnesium, the one I can't say it, my dyslexia,
Glycinate. There's so many
glycinate.
forms of
Yeah,
magnesium.
there are.
Yeah.
I have a good brand of that I take. I take two about an hour or two before I go to bed, and it helps considerably. Thank you
Well,
for bringing that up.
you're welcome. And I will share, side note, because I learned this the hard way, that when I first started, and this is also an issue, constipation can also be an
Oh yeah.
issue going through this time of life. Magnesium citrate is great for that, but be careful.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't absorb well and affect your
yeah.
sleep. But it's
Wow.
great for constipation and
Right.
bringing yourself regular. But yeah, just be careful.
Yeah, being regular is important. Myself,
It is.
I've
Yes.
never had an issue sitting down and going. But again, when I hit menopause, I would sit down and I knew I had to go, but there was nothing coming out.
It's amazing how the body,
Yeah.
the body I think is just so miraculous. It
Yes.
amazes me. It blows my mind what it can do. But going through this phase of life is just bizarre and what the body,
It is.
we have to laugh because if we're not, we're crying.
Yes, yes, yes. You have to find the humor in it for
You
sure.
do. You really do. And I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a huge missing link. I love when I see a reel, whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, of men there's one in particular that always pops into my mind. These men created these go-karts. They made these go-karts and they're cruising down this hill that has no sense to it. It's trees and rocks and they're men and they're
Right.
crashing and they're laughing, but they're having and this is why women live longer, but they're
Yes,
having a fabulous time. And we as women, we have been so conditioned that we have to be so on. We have to take care of
yeah.
everybody. We have to take care of everything. And we're the only ones that can do it. And we've got to stay on. And we've lost our ability to have fun, to
Yes,
relax, to let loose, dance on tables, fun, be
yes,
crazy, be insane sometimes like the men are. What's the harm? But we lose that. And you're right, laughing and letting ourselves just be free to enjoy life. We forget how to do that.
yes, yes. And I remember that brings me back to kids on the bus and the
Oh yeah.
things they would
Oh God, we could
say,
talk stories.
especially the preschoolers. For anyone out there who knows somebody who has preschoolers, let me tell you, those little 3 and 4 year olds, they tell everything that goes on in the household.
They do. Even the
Absolutely.
elementary ones
Oh,
do.
yeah. Absolutely everything. So if you don't want the bus driver to know what's going on in your house, make sure the preschoolers and the younger elementary schoolers do not know.
Yes, been there.
Just, yeah.
So, what are some last minute tips that you would like to give the listeners?
You are not in this alone.
Oh, huge.
That
No,
is the biggest
absolutely not.
thing. You are not alone and you are not crazy. You're not insane. You're not making this stuff up. It is really happening to you. Um, Please remember that there are about 50 symptoms that can happen with women, and not everyone gets the same symptoms. So
True.
if you have something else that your best friend doesn't have, it doesn't mean you're odd or off or anything like that. It just means your journey is different than theirs.
And
And
isn't that
there is,
life?
and life, exactly. And there is help out there for you. Please, please, please reach out. Reach out. There are many menopause care providers besides myself, and I know any of us would reach out and stop you from falling.
And it's also important to not be afraid to have that conversation with Allie or
Yeah.
um, sometimes even a therapist is needed. But
Yes.
talk to someone like Allie if you're comfortable in talking about your sex life. We have to be comfortable talking about those things. If we want things to improve, if we want our bodies to enjoy the things that they were meant to enjoy,
Hmm.
talk to Allie and learn how you can help your body be the best that it wants to be. That our bodies want to be happy and joyful and healthy
Yes.
and have fun. So please do reach out to Allie and have a conversation. And is there anything else you'd like to add before we sign off?
Uh, should I tell them where they can find me?
Absolutely. And I will also have that in all the show notes.
You are awesome. Um, I am on thepassionzone.com, menopausewellness.co. I am also on TikTok. You can find my TikTok handles, my Instagram handles on both websites. But, and I'm on Substack, the Menopausal Minute. I keep forgetting about that, the Menopausal Minute. So join me in any of those places. I'd love to have a conversation.
Wonderful. Allie, thank you so much. I have so much fun talking with you, and I've learned so much. And I hope that we both, I always say, if we touch one woman,
Just
the
one.
day is beautiful. But
Yes.
hopefully we can really keep this conversation going. As Allie said, you are not alone. None of us are. I know so many times during this window of life, I call it from peri-menopause to caregiving. It's a huge window and there are a lot of changes, but life is meant to be glorious, not perfect, but glorious and there are ways to get through the challenging times without feeling like you're losing your mind. So please reach out to Allie if you have any questions for me, your host, Kathleen McDermott, about living life on your terms. In the show notes will be how you can reach me too. So I want to wish you all a glorious day, many blessings, a whole lot of peace. Namaste. Thank you for being with us.